Hey there, AfterBuzzers! Welcome back! This is Season 2, Episode 15 of Supergirl, Exodus. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin!
Hello! Take in those tunes. A little bit of Rocket Man for all you gentle space fans. Oh yeah, get it, Joelle.
Yes.
Get it.
Yes. How can you not? It's like the number one karaoke. It's like up there karaoke, like with I don't know.
Anything
Queen
by
stuff.
Journey, yeah.
Yes, all the stuff. Bohemian Rhapsody. It was there, guys.
So welcome back! Again, this is Supergirl out on AfterBuzz TV, and I'm your host, Tauri J. Miller, and I'm joined by two amazing panelists. We got Stephanie Wenger.
Hi guys, good to be back with you. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at Stephanie Wenger.
Joelle Monique.
Hey guys, I'm Joelle Monique. You find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique and every week at blackgirlnerds.com.
Nice.
Ah.
You can find me at Tauri J, Tauri-Jay. Our friends Lex and Lucretia are out on assignment.
Like
they
some
have
jerks.
betrayed us and gone over to the Cadmus side. It's real sad. So we'll have to bring them back for next week. That's why we're off. The next week is because we gotta go on a secret mission.
So many secret
Yes.
missions.
So tweet at them, tell them how angry you are that they're not here. That's the Lex Michael, and that's also Lucretia Lyon. Find them, do things. And also, while you're at it, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, the thumbs up, blah, blah, blah. That's enough intro. Guys, we had such an intense episode today. It makes my heart swoon.
I think people would be surprised to find out that this was one of my favorite episodes of the season. So intense, amazing special effects, and a great story.
Yeah, so many relationship developments, so many like almost deaths, which are my favorite things. I love this. This show is a little bit of a soap opera, so we got a lot lately with relationships and like jobs and success. And then tonight it was the episode where like almost anyone could have died at any point, and it's just so thrilling. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it was the fruit. It was basically the culmination of everything we had seen with Cadmus. So they came in here and they just started snatching up aliens left and right. We get this really fun, then harrowing scene of this family getting snatched from their car, which I felt was really. I don't know if the writers intended it to be, but it felt very prescient.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting to watch that because it was like it was an extreme scene in that you saw how happy and like normal. I was thinking how normal that first moment was, and then to have it completely flip away from that, and obviously something so abnormal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was emotional. Because you just felt that little, like, who has him in the car, like, oh my god, parents, stop, you're embarrassing me, and this is awful. You really kind of identified with that moment, and then for their whole world to kind of be turned upside down so quickly, and I thought it was done really effectively. It was a great opening. Yeah.
And if Lex was here, he'd say something like, and it's really crazy because it's like a reflection of what's going on here in the real world. You know, it's because we have this list of people that has been released, and it kind of reflects how we have this list of people who are on the Dreamers program, and they're afraid that their status on that list is really hold on, I'm doing a bit that is really prescient because, like, you know, people right now are getting icy attacks and getting snatched up by immigration, and it really reflects that, and it's crazy. It's really crazy.
It is.
What were you gonna say, Stephanie?
I don't even know where to go after that, but I was going to just say, I guess, that the show continually does this and does it so well. Brings up these social issues and what's currently happening, and it's really reflecting what we're seeing in our government and obviously politically what's happening in the climate in the U.S. at least. And I think they're doing it in such a fun CW way. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel heavy-handed. It feels like pertinent and important.
Yeah, ripped from the headlines is always a intense way to go. I like that they're not holding back in any, like they covered several political issues and like without needing to be subtle about it. I like that they weren't like, we're gonna like tiptoe around it and like with subject. They're like, no, it's in your face and we're dealing with it, and I like that.
I agree. Yeah. I think what I meant was like it's not an after school special. Like it's meant
it's not corny.
It's not corny. Like you're meant to be able to interpret it and kind of, oh, okay, I can take how they're treating aliens and apply it to I see the bigger picture here. And I think they're doing a really beautiful job at that.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, what did you guys think of the fact that I know that leading up to this, I personally felt like the intent was to kill all the aliens. What did you guys think of the idea that they switched it around to be deportation as opposed to extermination?
I always thought that was where it was. I don't know. I thought it would go to deportation, or like not necessarily killing, but like, yeah, I assumed that this was the direction it was going to go.
I definitely thought we were alluding to themes of deportation, but I thought they were going to go to execution. So when they went deportation, I have mixed feelings about it because I really thought that I forget the Danvers father's name.
Jeremiah.
I've been calling him Daddy Danvers
yes.
on Twitter.
Daddy Danvers.
It's weird to me that Jeremiah had that much pull to be like, I swayed her opinion. I was like, oh, is this a partnership and not? It made me more confused about their relationship and what kind of power he held.
Yeah.
Do you think that they changed their mind as like the election happened? Because I mean, clearly this episode we're a few months out from the election now. Do you think that they changed their mind with that, or do you think that this was always the intent?
I mean, personally, I feel like it was always the intent in order to keep Jeremiah like a relatively gray character, like
gotcha.
To make it seem like he's doing what's right for the wrong reasons, as they kind of, or doing what's wrong for the right reasons, as they said in this episode, kind of like summing up their thesis statement. So I think that them doing deportation as opposed to like execution is also a good way of separating it from the Martian storylines we had earlier in the season.
Yeah, Danny Elmer says Supergirl is and always will be the most politically relevant of the DCW series, which I absolutely agree with. Ivan said, we will get to that when we get to the news stuff. And then Jared Scoggins says Supergirl has been doing these political stories since the beginning. Yeah, and I think I like that these kind of carry over again, and I like that they don't have to be apologetic about it, and I like that there's no hesitation or worry about like, oh, what if this offends someone? They're like, we don't care.
Yeah, and I think in season 1 it was a lot about Supergirl and Kat and how they balance their like work-life balance and all of that, and you saw those kinds of issues come about, and this season has been even more political, and that's really an interesting place to be on, especially on a CW show.
Mm-hmm. And since you bring up how the first season was very much about Supergirl and the second season can be about these issues, it really strikes me, or at least it was really interesting this episode specifically, that it was such a non-Supergirl centric episode. It was very much about the Danvers girls being the Danvers.
Was anyone else like super happy to see Alex kicking butt? Like she had a major action sequence in this. It was so
cool.
great.
She was like full 80s action star on us. Like it was like in the like busted up bar, like, ugh, guys, I really like mob scenes or like gang scenes where it's like from the outside, like it's getting shot up, and then that's our introduction to the villain. And it was so cool. It's just breaking down the wall, and then she's like immediately into action. She's taking everyone down. It was like soul satisfying. She should be a badass in her own right. Like I think a lot of times because we're always seeing Supergirl like shoot lasers out of her eyes and stop ships that are about to jump to light speed. It's really cool to be like, no, Alex kicks ass in human form, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, she brings something to that team. It's not, she doesn't just assist Supergirl. Like, you see, and you've seen it more and more throughout these episodes, how she's her own, like, full character, and now she has this relationship. I love kind of the story arc and the character development that we've seen for Alex this year. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. And it's also really nice that we got this, because I know a lot of fans have been talking about how we haven't gotten to see that in a while. It's been very much about the other layers of her character, her building her relationship and her relationship with her dad and all that stuff. And so now we got all of those things in one episode. We got her fighting side by side with her girlfriend. We got her showing her dad like what for and telling him he's doing the wrong thing. We got to see her be the great agent that we know that she is capable of being. So like I love that this was her episode.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And we got a little bit also of Kara back at CatCo, which was really fun. And I enjoyed kind of the balance in that. We got kind of both girls quite a bit in their human form.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially Kara talking about how, like, this is what makes me me. Like, Supergirl is just a thing I can do, and she's happy to do it. She loves being a hero. But seeing her, like, just live as a human and then fully understanding, like, oh, like, journalism is not just a job. It's not just something that is what her cousin kind of introduced her to. It's the thing that grounds her to earth. And, like, I really appreciate that she's more than just her powers.
Yeah, and I think it's something that people talk about all the time is, like, a job is something that you do. Who you are is different. And I think you kind of see her viewing Supergirl much more as a job, and still being a journalist is equally important to her, and figuring all of that out. And I think we're just kind of seeing the beginning of her figuring out how to balance that.
Yeah. And I want to talk about Snapper Carr in a little bit. I want to jump back a little bit to Alex's confrontation with her father. Just a little bit. Because he was talking about how he was doing this for her. And he was talking about how essentially it was to protect her and Kara. But do you guys feel like that's a valid reason? I mean, they've proven that they're more than capable of taking care of themselves. They've been doing it for the last, 14, 15, 20 years?
Yeah, but to be fair, when you left them, they were little girls and probably not capable. Like, I'm sure Kara wasn't fully in control of her powers. Like, at the beginning of the series, we saw, like, she still had, like, a lot to kind of figure out. And he doesn't know them like we know them. You know, even though we see Supergirl he may see Supergirl from afar doing things that I don't think quite confused as, like, that's my little girl.
Yeah.
And while I totally understand Alex's, like, perspective of being like, I don't want people hurting my name, that's awful, I also understand a parent being like, I don't care who's hurt as long as my babies are safe.
Right.
So yeah, I do think it's valid. I mean, it's awful. It's an awful decision. It's a very Sophie's Choice decision to have to make, but I think it's a valid decision.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a hard time kind of... I get what you mean, and, like, I think, like, a parent's instinct is obviously would be to protect their kids at all cost, but also you're harming so many to do that, and so I have a hard time saying that was the right decision. It's a very difficult decision, and I get that, but yeah, I couldn't say right or wrong.
I mean, yes, I think you guys are right that it's, like, super. It's an impossible choice, though. As the non-human part of me, or, like, I guess the
non-human
the
part
non-human
of
part, the robot part
What
of
did you
me.
just reveal to us?
Nothing.
Are you the only Superman we need to target?
Who knows? For those at home listening on iTunes, I've just buttoned up my shirt. But, like, I also feel like there were other options for him. You know, there's Superman, who is literally a god figure in this world. I feel like he has the power. He would have had the power to protect them beyond Cadmus's power. Cadmus could only reach so far.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it is. I go back to that just being an impossible decision.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. How many, like, movies have we seen where, you know, I don't know, like, Taken, or, like, I will find you wherever you are. And she does have, like, endless money, and they have, like, secret black operation sites. Again, like, when he left, what was a decade ago? 13 years ago?
Yeah, it was like 13 or 14 years ago.
Yeah, so they're just little babies at this point, like, little innocent midget people, you know, like... tiny humans.
Right.
It's just
yes.
awful.
Children, one would call them.
I don't like that word. I just feel like I feel really bad for him because it's just an awful decision to have to make. But if it's me and mine, like, I'm not hurting my children.
Yeah.
I get it.
Okay. I get it. You know what else is an impossible choice? Figuring out what to eat for dinner.
It really is.
It's so hard.
So difficult. And you know what my favorite thing to do is when I'm having a tough choice to make? Order Blue Apron. So Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. I love it. I use it for my girls' nights. It's awesome. It makes cooking so easy. So it makes home cooking accessible to everyone. It also, beyond being delicious and easy, it also is really great for the environment. They've established partnerships with over 150 local farms, fisheries, and ranchers across the United States. So everything is sourced sustainably, their seafood, and responsibly raised animals. What they're doing is actually amazing in terms of sourcing food locally. And so I just love that, and you're also getting the right amount of food. There's no, reduces food waste, so that's awesome. Also, you may not realize that eating together increases bonds between family members and friends. So gather around the table, everybody, and
eating together, cooking together, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you're learning to cook or just getting started, you know, when I first moved out here, I was getting Blue Aprons, 3 meals in that box. Super simple, easy to cook instructions, and way fast.
Yeah, so Blue Apron families cook nearly 3 times as often as other families. I didn't know that. That's exciting.
Blue Apron bringing families together.
Yeah, and so if you're interested, some of their upcoming meals are spicy shrimp and coconut curry, vegetable chili, and baked sweet potatoes. That sounds delicious.
Everything sounds so tasty.
Yeah, we
have not eaten dinner yet.
Yeah,
we're very hungry.
We are super hungry in here, just on a side note. So with all of that, you can check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping too. So go to blueapron.com/buzz. So that's blueapron.com/buzz. You will love how good it feels, it tastes, it's easy, and I just think the meals are super fun, and they're things that you wouldn't necessarily get at the store. They're a little fancier and fun, so that's always good. And so go with Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can we, while we're transitioning, the chat is talking about Kara's super fast changes, and they're conflicted because they're like, okay, but she has super speed, but also it was 2 seconds, and there's a lot of maneuvering. Now, my favorite point is the fact that Superman changes in a phone booth, and so he doesn't have a lot of room in there, but he still does it quickly. What are your guys' opinions on how fast Kara changed today?
I would like to think that she has, one, it could either be some kind of mechanism that Wynn has created for her, like some kind of ring that holds her outfits in it.
Like the Flash?
Yes.
Okay, wow. I like it. I like the idea of it.
Or that essentially she she flies up to space, and her clothes are just floating there because of the zero gravity, and then she flies into them and flies back down.
Isn't there
I like the idea of a space wardrobe just constantly hovering above space.
I like that I'm trying to think of a logical explanation for this, but it's all good. I'm thinking though, isn't there a patio or a balcony outside of the office?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the changing spot. If I had to guess, that's where she's doing all of the changing, because she flies in as Supergirl, and then I think she flew out. Am I incorrect?
Yeah, you did.
And so maybe on the balcony again. That's my thought.
Sitnalis Pumpkin says Kara changes in a TARDIS, and then she keeps her clothes in the Phantom Zone. And I like the idea of this as well. No, Mystic Lightning Fairy doesn't have the ring in the show, but in all of the comics he does, and it's great because of the way it folds out all flippy, and then he's magically I filled this footy pajamas. It's hilarious and amazing.
It's like he's swimming into his clothes.
I will say that I think that the Flash has it harder to change than Supergirl. Supergirl can fly.
Absolutely.
There's a lot more options, so we'll see. Or maybe we won't.
That's true. I'd like also to imagine that some window washer gets a sneak peek every time. He's like, hey, yo, I've seen Supergirl's naked.
And we always find the line of when it becomes creepy. And
what? That's the line? Guys.
Well, a window washer washing your dress isn't creepy, Tauri?
I'm just saying, we're talking about how she gets dressed, and if it's on the patio.
I just hope Supergirl punches that window washer in the face every time.
know.
She goes like, stop, you sicko, and
Yeah, I'm
flies
just
off to
saying,
fight crime.
Tari, like every week, we know there's a line.
How do I know where the line is unless I cross it?
I don't know. We'll work on it.
It's like that. It's like that level or one of the gyms in Pokemon where the only way to figure out where the invisible walls are is to just keep bumping into them and then
Yes.
turning.
Maybe we'll work on this off camera.
Okay, great. Guys, I have no diplomacy. I roll a 1 on diplomacy every time.
I didn't say that.
Oh, man. Okay. Before we jump into the next thing, I just want to say, guys, you know,
We're gonna get through this episode.
Yes, I'm like trying to reel back. Guys, do you love what we're doing here? Do you love what we're doing here?
Clearly, we're enjoying this.
Yeah. Clearly, you're having fun, but we want to know.
Guys, I love what we're doing here. And you know, Blue Apron seems to love what we're doing here. And yep,
Yeah.
they obviously do because they wanted to send their message out through us to you. And you know how we get great sponsors like Blue Apron? Blue Apron. It's by getting comments and subscriptions from you guys. You guys going onto iTunes and hitting that subscribe button, leaving comments below, and really good ratings helps sponsors know that we are a show that people love, and it keeps these lights on so that we can bring this show to you free of charge. How much is that? Free of charge.
$0.
I love free things.
Oh yeah,
free,
$3.99.
$3.99? That's amazing.
No, it's not original. I think it's not on TV. But yes, so make sure that if you have the time, it only takes 30 seconds at the most. If you want to spend a long time, girl, I ain't gonna stop you. You just go on iTunes, hit that 5 stars, be like, they doing so good. Leave a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, go below, leave a comment, let us know, hit that thumbs up. All of our producers will be like, this is a great show. People love it. Look at all these comments talking about how much they love Stephanie, how much they love Joelle, how much they love our 2 betrayers.
They're actually really missing Lex and Lucretia over here.
I know. It's sad. I miss them too.
Lex's cup is
all
still
miss
empty,
them.
though. So we'll store up all of your 5 stars, and we'll get an IV directly into Lex's arms. So when he
Yes.
comes back, he's like, baned out and like
Yeah.
ready
Totally.
to take on
And
the next episode.
Lucretia will be back with her sexy voice for all of your reviews next week, so that's fun.
Joelle, do you have a sexy voice ready? Do we have any reviews this week?
I'm not as prepared as Lucretia.
Oh, no.
I am
Oh,
not
no.
the chat mistress. I'm new to this.
Oh, no.
But I will look for some.
Do you want me to? I can waste some time. No, we'll do them at the end of the show. We'll do them
yeah.
like right after predictions.
We'll go to. I was just gonna wait till next week, guys. But if we want to do some
We've got
shout
2
outs,
whole weeks till the next one.
all right, we'll do
Yes,
some shout outs.
Stephanie.
All right.
Yeah. I just like yelling at Stephanie.
I know
Jamie-
it's super fun.
Because you're so far from me.
I know it's our first time being separated. It's very weird.
Oh,
Jamie
man.
Nauman wants you to know that you're killing her, Tauri. Like, she can't breathe from laughing so hard at your hilarity.
Aw, thank you. So, back to the show.
Yes.
Yes.
We got some sweet CatCo media stuff to talk about.
This was amazing. For like the journalist in me was so happy at all of
your
the.
whole face lit up. You were like, we're talking about real journalism things today.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I remember graduate school. It was so fun. Yeah. It was super fun to see, and they were talking about having reliable sources, and he was like a true editor and like a grumpy editor, and it was really just like fun to watch for me.
Yeah, I really love Snapper Carr because he's really no nonsense, but you can't hate him for it because he's just, you can obviously tell he's really good at his job, and he's really about the integrity of the CatCo magazine.
Yeah, and he's like, we're the like paper of record in this town, and like he wants to be considered like a good, upstanding journalist. And I think that that's something to really respect, even if he comes down quite hard on Kara.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So, I mean, the big conflict in this regard is Supergirl, or Kara, not Supergirl, really wanted to publish this article, and she couldn't because she only had Supergirl as her main source. I guess she technically could have also brought in Maggie or...
I was surprised she didn't ask Lena for a quote just about, like, you've run into all the insane things that they're doing. Like, you could maybe at least speak to that aspect.
Yeah.
I think that by pulling in anybody else, like, she was ultimately afraid that they would be put in harm, and because they were involved in this secret. Yeah.
That makes sense.
I get it. But still. So, essentially, she didn't have enough sources to move forward with this thing.
I like that also her source was herself.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like doing a paper and then being like, I just put it on Wikipedia, so it's true.
P.S. in college, this is such a side note, there was a guy who, on a group project, quoted Wikipedia, and then he wrote, I don't know what this means, but I think we should use it.
No, I don't think that's how things work.
I would beg to differ on that.
I really feel like this is super relevant, especially as social media expands and we start connecting with one another more, and people start sharing their opinions like it's journalism.
Yeah.
It ain't. Just so you know, there's like a difference, and I love opinion pieces. I write a ton of them, but I'm glad that they made a very clear distinction between what is opinion and what is like good, solid journalism. And to be fair, what Kara did is pretty underhanded in a journalism sense. Like, I understand why she wanted to do it. She always comes from a good place, and it's really beautiful that she's like, I can protect people with my words if I get the message out there, if I help them know. But you use yourself as a source, girl.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, I think also taking it in your own hands, and when he said no and then being like, I'm gonna blog it myself, that's when you're getting into this really interesting territory. Like, I understand she was trying to do good, but also, like, she had to realize that, like, that's against all the like, you can't just do whatever you want when you're a journalist. Like, you work for an organization. I think that's the case in any job. Like, you have to be, for lack of a better description, loyal to your employer.
Well, I thought what was most interesting is when she's talking to Mon-El, and I thought he gave great advice. Like, does this feel like right to you? Then okay, you should do that. She hesitated for so long. I was like, that doesn't feel right to you, Kara. You know this is wrong. Yeah. And the fact that you know your boss would be mad at you for it, did that seem off to you guys about Kara, that she didn't recognize? Like, usually I feel like she's pretty good at being like, this person would be really upset about it.
Yeah, I mean, I respect the fact that she wanted to get the information out, but it's just this issue of, like, she ultimately knew that what she was doing was hurting CatCo. I think that that's where the issue is, and they're the ones who gave her the chance and all, and gave her start. I think that in some ways she, by protecting people, became disloyal. I don't know. It's just interesting.
The big conflict though is that if she didn't get the information out, lives were literally at stake.
Yeah.
So she had her platform, but the platform wouldn't accept what she needed. So, like, the choices were to get it out herself or to spend the time trying to get additional sources without, one, exposing the DEO as an entity, and also without making her sources...
putting them at risk.
Yeah. And I thought it was also interesting, again, the distinction between the blogger, like, because she essentially goes to be a blogger versus a journalist.
Yeah.
Like, and they were hitting that pretty hard, which I thought was interesting, because I honestly read both and love, like, I love news sources and blogs, so I didn't, but
it would be really interesting to see her take on journalism from, like, a citizen journalist perspective. Like,
I agree.
Boots on the ground, like, filming things and streaming, and she can get to places pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, I think she could really do something interesting. It's going to be, I guess, cool to see if she goes in that blogger direction. Is she going to, uncover her own stuff, and what journalism aspects does she use? Again, this is my nerdy journalist.
Did anyone else feel like this might be a really good place for Kat to come back? I was like, the only person who could Jimmy technically could, but I don't think he will. Kat could definitely come back and be like, Kara's my girl. I just want her. And also Jared Scoggins also said, I just want Kat back. And I think we all do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely do. Do you wonder if Jimmy, though, will get her back at CatCo in some way? I did have that thought.
I don't think so. I don't want her to go back to CatCo.
Do you think they're closing the door on CatCo? Because the only person left there, like that we like really know well is I guess Jimmy and to a degree her editor as well. But,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be for her in that I think Kara as a character she's grown beyond the storylines of her just doing CatCo stuff.
Yeah.
So like I would love if she was this private investigator kind of going out and really like boots to the ground getting these stories and earning her way back into CatCo as opposed to Kat coming back or Jimmy having to step in. I really want her because we know that Snapper respects her.
Yeah.
We know that he really is rooting for her, so I want her to like prove herself again.
Yeah, I think I want her eventually to go back to CatCo because I think like it's always lovely to kind of have it come full circle, but I think there's like a path that she needs to go on, and I hope that it's not, you know, in the next episode Jimmy's like, oh, come back. I'll be like, okay, well,
Yeah.
like I think that she has to learn more about herself, about journalism, about reporting, and that there's sometimes not a right or wrong way to go. It's just like ultimately what's gonna do best, and
Yeah.
Yeah. It would make sense to me since we're pretty sure Callista's not going to come back. As Toto in the chat is reminding me, even though I still want Kat back, like even though the showrunner's like it's probably not gonna happen, my heart is still holding out hope.
I just want like even a cameo, like just like a little, just like a scene,
like a 2-minute,
yeah, like
anything. I will take it. But I understand
any
she's
green,
probably not coming back, so it totally makes sense to me that they might be phasing out CatCo. I think that sucks because I really like the idea of a CatCo existing, and I liked visiting that space, but. You guys are right. Like, hardly anyone's there anymore, and we have Jimmy as guardian, so we don't really need to see him running CatCo anymore.
Right.
But this opens up just a whole bunch of new avenues, and I'm excited to see what direction the show's going to shift into next.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I agree.
And just in light relationship news, we got a really cute scene. Speaking of Jimmy, with Jimmy and Wynn and Lyra, and they're talking about Dune, which is one of my favorite books, and they loved it.
They're so adorable
They
together.
really are.
Like, you're just like, because I feel like Wynn has been like the underdog for 2 seasons, and it's finally so nice to see him like happy and in love with someone and not
confident and ruling at his job.
Yeah, just like really like figuring out who he is and like in a relation. I'm just like so happy for this fictional character. Is that weird?
No, not at all. I also feel happy for Wynn.
Yeah.
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 No, it's great. And like we get this really sad moment when she's taken from the bar.
So scary.
I know. It was a really cool fight scene. And
was
I
really
like
good,
just
really.
have it being draped in shadow and all the lights going in and out. So good. But yeah, I really felt for that character, seeing her drug out and him kind of calling for her, and then her being the one to help all the people in the ship try to escape from their cells. I feel like that was a really good moment, one for their relationship, but also...
Yeah, again, there were so many heroes in this episode. It
Yeah.
wasn't just Kara. It was like, you can argue she's a hero. Like, and I love that they were kind of like spreading the wealth around a bit.
It reaffirmed the strength of the team.
Yeah.
Like, Team Supergirl is, like, in full effect now. And not only are they Team Supergirl, but they become strong individuals in their own right. And I think that's really dope.
Yeah. And speaking of other relationships, Lena is back, and her and Kara are better than ever.
They are. They're good. The chat is actually like, when is Kara going to tell Lena that she's Supergirl? Like, let's just get to this moment already. They are excited for it. And I also kind of agree, like, as much as I still team, like, I don't think Lena will ever become a villain. I just want it to happen. Like, I just feel like that actress can do villain so good.
Yeah.
And I really like when we have Lex to just great for like Superman's early life and then becomes the villain, and I love those stories, and I think that it could play out really well. But I understand that right now she's a good guy and she's kind of awesome and she's really Kara's friend, and I love their relationship, and it would be nice to see them.
I would say never say never though, because I think maybe not this season, but maybe in the
like
season
4.
Yeah, like in the seasons to come, I could see that turn happening. I think right now though she is good. It appears.
Yes.
Yeah. To the contrary, playing devil's advocate, as one does, I like the idea of a good Luthor. It really intrigues me because we always get like the super evil Luthor, or the Luthor who is fighting their evilness but ultimately ends up evil. I like the idea of one just that's like, hey, we're best buddies. Let's hang out on the weekends. Get some kombucha, you know. And I want
such
that
an
forever.
LA hangout.
Because of how feminist the show is, that wouldn't surprise me, and I actually think that I could be, like, once the show ends, I could be equally as happy with a strong, independent Lena who was like, I didn't need to go evil. Like, I have a great company, I got good friends, I'm in a healthy, like, life situation, and I'm just, like, a good guy. That really works on a whole bunch of levels, but, man, I like evil people. I'm always rooting for the villain a little bit.
Yeah.
And I still, my soul wants it, but that would be a really good, strong arc for her, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see in the way that these CW shows tend to go, like I could see that 180 turn for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Guys, she almost died today.
I really thought she was gone for a second, and my whole heart, like, sank to the floor. I was like, no! Why? Oh, God, it was so scary. But then, of course, Supergirl was there, and she was like, it's not even a problem. Y'all are going down. But props to Mama Luthor, because she's got deep sleeper agents.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, her assistant? Really? Because usually, you know, as your boss, the assistant's the person you trust the most, and they know all of your details, and dang, that sucks.
Oh, yeah. That Luthor loyalty is real deep.
Yeah.
And you could tell she was up to something when she's like, maybe a computer glitch? She twirled her mustache and then tied a girl to the train tracks, and you're like, there's something up with this assistant. That didn't actually happen, guys. It's fine. Thanks, Steph. Thanks.
You got like a half giggle. It's good.
Great. Awesome. That's my life runs on half giggles.
See, that's a full giggle.
Great. Thank you. Oh, man. I'm glad we got to see the Guardian again as well. He's been MIA. Everyone in the comments over the last few weeks have been like, where's James? Where's James? What's he doing?
I'm so happy. Yeah, I want more of his story arc, too. I feel like we've gotten a lot of win, and I'm good with where Alex is at. I want more Jimmy now. I'm down.
I feel like we have this whole transformation into Guardian, and then they were like,
yeah,
and we had such a great save from him today. It was really kind of like Batman-esque cool.
Oh, yeah.
Where he was just like, and I'm in, and I'm helping, and I did a good thing. I was like, yes! And I thought he was gonna like, I thought this was gonna be like the triumphant return of Jimmy, where he's like Guardian, he's playing like a really good role next to them, and then nope, just as soon as he came, he was gone again. I'm like, but I love him. Bring him back.
I'm wondering if like we'll see this kind of in the last few episodes of the season. If this is gonna be kind of the season finale story.
Yeah, like they've got to all come together.
Right.
Because there's no reason why he'd be like, I'm going to sit this one out. There's whatever threat, as Daxamites all over the place. I'm going to go write an article. So he's got to come back. I think that there's been a lot going on. He kind of takes a back seat. He takes a back seat to a lot of the other storylines, especially since the last ones have been very like Danvers specific. There's no room for him to just be like, by the way, I'm the Guardian. See you guys later. I'll see myself out.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah. So we get the last scene of the episode. We have the royalty of Daxam coming on their ship, heading towards Earth.
I was so excited. I thought that this was actually going to happen in the next episode. I was not expecting to get the reveal of Terry Hatcher and all of that at the end of this episode.
What I really liked about this preview is this moment when he's like, I feel like this place feels different, or he says, I feel strange or something.
Yeah.
And this thought of, like, these super evil, awful people that Mon-El is afraid of, like, Mon-El doesn't seem to be deterred by a lot, you know? So it gave me this feeling of, like, oh my god, they're already so evil, and now they're evil and they're super powered, and I'm just so excited to see them, like, come as a couple. And what will Mon-El be like him, because we're all way different in front of our parents.
Yeah.
What will he be like in front of his parents?
I can't wait also to see Kara's reaction or Supergirl's reaction to all of this, because, like, you know that's going to be an epic, what appeared to be like a dinner or something. Like, it's going to change everything, as I think they said in the preview.
Real quick, we're getting a request to talk about John testing Alex, which
yes. Yes.
did you get? I felt like it was necessary. I like Supergirl's line of I don't agree with his method, but I do agree with his analysis, and I felt like that was like, yeah, girl, you're not using your right brain right now.
Yeah, I thought that I agree. His method seemed unfair, but I think it became very clear where her allegiance was, and you have to handle that in some way. And maybe he was very secretive about it, and I didn't love the way he did it, but I thought that, like, suspending her ultimately seemed like a fair thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I also liked that moment where Jean says, you know, Jean doesn't count, he's not family, which I thought was a really telling insight to how Jean views himself with these girls of, like, I really want to be a part of your family. And I was all like, before I knew it was Jean, I was like, Alex, say something, because Jean is definitely family. You know, like, it made me feel a little weird. I understand where her brain was at. Like, she's like, my dad is in danger. I know he's a good guy. And ultimately, you know, she was right.
Yeah, and I appreciated the apology as well.
Whoa, Tauri had to, he switched arms, which means something.
I have
so much
thoughts.
anger coming from Tauri.
It's not anger. So, like, so the test was, I guess, in a way uncalled for. Like, however, I guess it wasn't uncalled for. I think it was very just, and I don't think that John should have had to apologize at the end, because one, he was right, and also she like it's hearkening back to what Snapper was saying, like, she lucked into this situation. She could have died on numerous occasions, and she decided to go in by herself, left her partner in crime behind as well, and only happened to not get blasted off into the nether regions of space by sheer, just like, coincidence, because Lena had found the warehouse, and because Supergirl was able to bring in reinforcements. And so, like, ultimately, like, she should have been locked in a cell until they figured everything out, or until she had time to, like, clear her mind. But he was like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have tested you like that. But no, he was right. She was a danger to herself and others.
I was kind of shocked when Maggie, I don't know, Maggie, I thought maybe she heard more of her police side would come in, and she'd be like, no, we need to calm down, and, like, procedural book. When she was like, ride or die, I was like, lesbians! I just got so excited. It's like, yay, crime spree with lesbians, but, like, for just, it was Robin Hood lesbians is what was happening.
I would watch a show that's just them kicking butt and fighting crime.
I feel like that is the most amazing spin-off of this show. Like, yeah, they are like a crime fighting duo.
Yeah.
Yes. Helping aliens on Earth, kicking butt.
Yeah.
Totally.
Danvers, Tuesdays at 8 o'clock, only on CW.
Only in our dreams.
Yes. Maybe if we keep asking for it, guys. Danvers,
Yeah.
CW, Danvers.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, so I'm gonna move us on to predictions because we're running short on time.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right. So, what do you guys think is gonna happen in the next episode, leading into the final episodes coming up?
I'm going to steal a prediction from
it.
the chat. This came from, your name is Jay Zizawamin. Hopefully I said your name right. She's like, what if it would be a big shock if at the end of the season we learned Lena knew all along that Kara was Supergirl? And that's why she was helping her and feeding her information. And she's like, oh, where were you? How did you get to me so quickly? I see hints of it, potentially. And I think it would be a really exciting reveal if she's like, yeah, I knew. It's totally cool.
not really playing totally off that, but I'm interested to see kind of in these last few episodes how Mon-El's relationship with Supergirl is affected by his parents coming in. I think they may be heading for a breakup. They seem so lovey-dovey that I just think the arc is probably going to go and they're going to fall apart. Unfortunately, I think they're adorable.
Wait, I'm sorry, Win and or
No, Mon-El and Supergirl?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
People are
know.
really enjoying their caramel in the chat.
I
so,
know. I enjoy it too.
Breaking hearts around the world right now.
I know. I'm so sorry. I love it probably like more than most. I just think that with these kind of evil forces coming in, that it's going to be hard for them to overcome.
Yeah.
That's just my little prediction. I could be wrong.
All right. Since we get the big reveal that we all knew, that essentially Mon-El is the Prince of Daxam. I think that we're going to get a very initially non-hostile environment, and the King and Queen feel very like Zod-like. So last season we had the Kryptonians, but they weren't about like subjugating mankind. They were more about like trying to save them. Whereas I think that the Daxamites are going to be very much about trying to rule and trying to figure out why Kara and Mon-El aren't taking over. And so I think that will be the trajectory of their characters.
Yeah, just in that final scene that we had, it felt like, again, an evil force coming in. And it's going to be interesting. Maybe Supergirl and Mon-El can turn it around and it'll bring them stronger together. I just feel like they're going to be fighting to keep their relationship and everybody else.
And see, I think we're going to get parallels of, like, meeting the parents for the first time. And also, like, when you... First family visits, like stayover visits, you learn some things about your partner where you're like, bro, you did not tell me this before, though.
Yeah.
This is all new.
It's true.
And I feel like we're just going to get a lot of that. I'm not sure if they're going to break up so soon. I feel like they're on a really good path. They've been healthy. And they have so much chemistry. I can't imagine them being like... And now's the time to split them. I feel like this is going to be a thing where she's like, are you kidding me? But by the end of the day, I hope they work out.
I hope that even if there is a breakup towards the end of the season, that it's not the end of Carmel. Like, I would love it in season 3. I just think that there's going to be work to go through to get to that point, to have a strong relationship.
I'm slowly turning around on them. I'm still concerned about it, but they seem to be working better together, so maybe.
I definitely don't want the end of them. I think there may be a breakup, but I hope
you might be the biggest shipper of them, like of all of us. So I think it's so funny that you're defending them right now.
I know.
I love it.
I will defend them till the end of time.
Do it. Get in there.
Don't even worry. It's good.
Nice. Great. Well, we are out of time, guys, so we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for joining us here on AfterBuzz TV on the Supergirl After Show. I'm Tauri J. Miller, and I'm going to let my friends here tell you who they are, where you can find them between now and the 22nd, 24th, 21st,
Yeah.
sometime in 2 weeks, because we're off for the next couple weeks. But between now and then, hit them on the social medias, which is...
at Stephanie Wenger on Twitter and Instagram. Come say hi.
Hey guys, I'm Joelle Monique. Find me on the internet at Joelle Monique. Every week at Black Girl Nerds. Here, Wednesdays, we do comic book exchange on Book Circle Online with Lucretia and Lex. Wednesdays, we do Magicians with Carrie D. There are more shows, I'm certain of it, but it's late. I cannot remember them. So check the AfterBuzz schedule. We've got a lot of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
and if they follow you, you'll tweet out all the things that you do.
I will.
And you can find me at Tauri J. That's TAURIJAY. You can also find me here on the CWDC ABTV slate. I did it! Lex will be proud of me. On Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, sometimes on Legends, and then also Grimm. We have 4 episodes left, so make sure to tune in every Sunday. And make sure to tune in here every Monday at 10 p.m. For Supergirl on AfterBuzz TV. Hit those likes and subscribes. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.